This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is a little live market chat Friday, January 27th, 2023. Come on in, ask questions. I can see the chat. It's just gonna kind of give it a few minutes to let people roll in and share this in other places. If you have good questions and you want them answered, this is probably the best time to ask in between now and when we get started. Pretty interesting. A lot of people going nuts. A lot of people losing their minds. A lot of people succumbing to the will of the market, essentially. Please be careful out there. I know it's very easy to get what I would consider just complacent. You just go, I give up. Shorting doesn't work. Been trying to buy the dips and then sell the rips, and then things just go higher and I don't know what things are going to do. I'm just going to hold out. That's what the market wants you to do at the inflection points. Just warning y'all. Just warning y'all. This is how this works. So I know a lot of people are getting, again, because you can see, like, you can feel it. If you do this long enough, right, what do you feel? Your emotions taking over, right? It must be at an inflection point. You know, and again, if it gets to 410 on Monday or Tuesday next week, not surprised. That anything's possible. However, I'm gonna hit the start button, let people funnel in, and then we'll get into it. Let me drop this sucker on a few social media sites, and then I'll really focus in. Because at this point, it's pretty. I don't know what the best way to describe it is, other than pure chaos. Right? People just purely panicking. Purely, gotta do this, gotta do that. I'm all in. I give up. I'm at the point where trading's hard. I don't even know. I mean, my brain doesn't think like that, but it knows it. Because I try to read the comments. People are like, you're a robot. It's like, no, I'm not a robot. I just try to be a robot and try not to, like, live off of this cortisol and these feelings. So, all right, let's see what we got here. All right, VIX facing intraday. Yeah, so let a few people roll in. If you got any questions. Yeah, the VIX 18. The good old teens on the VIXer. Do we think this lasts? Do you think this lasts? Right? Yeah, probably not. And that's why I keep telling him, like, if you've got positions and you're not hedging here, you're not taking profits, you got issues here. You're just not doing this right. You know, now I know, like, again, we talked about, like, here's an example of, like, Tesla. Like, it was like, watch what's going on here. You know, we're getting into the stupid mode, and here's your next monthly resistance. Can it hit it next month? Meaning next, like, February? I don't know. Could it be done today? Good question. I mean, I personally think that it gets really dicey with folks. I don't think they understand. Like, the market's going to do what it's going to do to take people's money, right? No doubt about that. But here's the thing about the market as we stand, right? If you had money, say you're an institution, say you're a hedge fund, say you're the market maker, say whatever, end of the month is coming, are you going to press your bets for higher prices, or are you going to take your profits like a freaking banshee and run, knowing that you have the Feds next week, knowing that you have Apple, who's probably going to drop a bomb on the market? Now, again, it could be like Microsoft where it bounces back, but we don't know that. But my point being is that what at this stage is really going to get people excited? Pivot, right? Fed pivot. I'm just telling you right now, that's not going to happen anytime soon. And if the Fed is pivoting, we've said this 1,000 times, if you know your history, that means the market's going to collapse shortly after, or, you know, shortly on that news, because that means that the Feds are completely out of position and that they have to cut. Remember, cutting rates, the start of rate cuts is the start of the bottoming process in the market, meaning like it has to go lower before it bottoms. Hope that's very clear and obvious if you studied the past. Because they're only going to cut rates if things are really falling off a cliff. And here's the big problem, and this is why I've said this for what seems like months and almost years now, because I feel like I've said it so often, is that the market ain't going to bottom in a bear market without the VIX doing what? Getting into the 50s. Minimum. We're at 18. We're at 18 and people are screaming, bull market's on, bear market's over. Get out the diaper, you're done. Like, look at the past. Look at the past. And these aren't even bear markets, folks. These were just gyrations of issues within the market. Flash crashes, flash issues, China's issues. We never even got a VIX up in the upper 40s, low 50s. That's what I'm saying to you all. And so for people to get like, now again, could the VIX get back to 12 or 13? I doubt that. For people just to like start believing that the bear market's over, man, you are reading the wrong materials. Because again, if anything, I'm seeing it potentially getting actually worse with what's going on, because you would think these stupid bottlenecks would end. They're getting progressively entrenched, which is the weird thing. We'll see what happens. I mean, everybody's seeing it a little different. Now, I saw real estate stuff pick up, but I'm not surprised that people jumped in starting the new year because they saw rates below 6 for like a minute. And they said, you know what, I need to buy a house. I don't care. I just need the right interest rate. And so there's been houses that have been sitting there because most people won't be buying a house from about Halloween on to New Year's because it's just cold. People don't want to move. It's the winter. Kids are in school. No one wants to rip the kids out of school. I mean, there's a whole host of issues, obviously, in play. And so those houses that have been sitting on the market took some pretty big price gashes, as you might imagine, right? So saw that pick up. But what we saw is that the prices necessarily weren't higher, just more concessions. Like I would offer you, say you sold your house for $400. I would offer you $415 with $15,000 in concessions to buy down my rate and pay my closing costs. And the sellers are like, yeah, sure, whatever. You're still netting. You're still getting the $400 that you wanted. It's just a different way of transacting, if that makes sense. You go a little over, and those concessions get paid out because you're offering more. It rolls into your loan. It allows, again, you to pay closing costs. Remember, you can't directly take money out of a transaction. You can't say, I'll give you $415 and you give me $15,000. That $15,000 has to go into escrow, or it has to go into paying your closing costs. If not, that would be a really sick way of laundering money, right? That would be pretty sick. Oh, I'll offer you I'll give you $1 million if you give me $500,000 in cash back. Okay. So I hope this. Again, I mean, I've had just actually had a transaction fall through today because the sellers are just rather naive to what's going on. And I think that's what's picked up a little bit is that people think that the market's bottoming in housing, which I mean, I've talked about this. I'm trying to find like that stabilization point where rates come down and prices come down. It's starting to look like the prices are going to stabilize. The rates are going to start to creep back up. And then what's going to happen? My honest opinion, I think if rates get back to 7% or plus, I mean, it's going to be like, you can hear the brakes being slammed miles away up the road if that's the case. Because as of right now, I mean, the low end seems to be stabilizing, but high end, I'm seeing stuff sit pretty long. Is Microsoft the next big to capitulate 70% from their highs? I mean, when you say capitulate, what do you mean? Like capitulate and rally? Are you trying to play Microsoft for a rally? I mean, I've said this for months. I mean, I started poking fun at this thing last year. You know, like this thing is topped. Dropped hard? Not really. No. Tesla dropped hard. Nvidia dropped hard. Meta dropped hard. Microsoft has not dropped hard. 360 down to 240. I mean, this stock could easily get down into a double-digit 100 range, especially in bear markets. That's what do. Leadership changes, and stocks go nowhere. Like that's the problem here is that this is the stock you want to trade down, but at a certain point, it's probably not there yet. It's probably somewhere in this, I would say 80 to maybe 40 range, but no. Which one is the next Microsoft? What do you mean? Drop hard? I mean, all of tech. I mean, I put this video out last November, said, who wins the tech war? It's not tech. It's the inputs. When you have inflation, tech gets murdered. Because tech by nature is deflationary. You know, that plasma screen TV that once was $5,000 is now $500, right? Well, guess what happens when the inputs start going up in price? Now their margins get throttled, absolutely cut. And that's why I always laugh at folks who don't know their past. And like, they're looking at Intel and they're like, oh, AMD will be safe. AMD's had similar issues in the past. Now, I think they're making better chips these days, but this is the problem with semiconductors. They become a literally commodity. And say there's a company offering similar chips, maybe not as good, but if they keep price cutting at a certain point, businesses, when the economy slows, they're going to do what? They're not going to pay premiums. They're going to try to get discounts. And then what happens is you see the chips cut prices all the way to the floor, these companies, because they just sit in on inventory. At a certain point, it becomes like a fire sale. And so the momentum that once was up turns the other way. So that's why I laugh like at people who are, I'm going to hold tech for the long run. Like, you're going to miss out on the next bull market and other material names. Now, again, people say, oh, tech is the future. It's always been the future. When has tech never not been the future? Right? It's just, it goes in cycles with momentum. Once momentum's lost, it's the same thing with like Tesla. I mean, you got a 100% move off the lows, approximately, right? We talked about you could have bought that thing down near 100. We're very clear about that. And now what, right? I guess we're already started jumping into it. Now what? I mean, the stock is not coming back. It's not going to price at 1,000 PE. Now they have to actually earn the multiple. And I think the biggest thing that no one talks about is that Elon Musk is pretty damn smart. If he sees the stock do this and he's got a ton of debt issues and he's running into issues with supply chain stuff and he wants to be smart about his future, he loves to do secondaries at the high. He loves to sell stock at the high. I mean, I'm not saying a secondary is coming today, but if I'm him and I'm lining up my finances, I'm going, well, I was at 100. I'm now at $1.75. Maybe it gets to, 180, 190. I'd be selling the hell out of stock if I was him. Doing a secondary. I mean, you want to fund the next, because you either do it with debt or stock. And with debt, there's different, obviously, avenues of debt. But you tell me if I am involved in this, right? I'm trying not to have a reoccurring debt payment. Yeah, he said he wouldn't sell for 2 more years, but we'll see. I mean, he also said he wouldn't be selling after this drop too. Again, his words are pretty hollow. And I mean, and again, I always tell people, it's like, stop thinking about what they want, you want. What does he want? What makes sense for him and his business? If I'm running the business, I'm absolutely selling more shares. If you want to fund the next growth to be able to pay for the Cybertruck and all the other bull crap, you're going to do it through debt? Or are you going to do it through stock sales? Oh, but you'll dilute the stock. Well, cash is cash. He needs it. I don't think he wants to pay 5, 6, 7% interest rates. That's going to eat into his margins. Just rip the Band-Aid off, dilute the stock. And again, at a certain point, yeah, he might own the stock and people might think it's worth holding on to forever. It just, the problem is the shelf life of companies like this is what? You price in a future, unlimited potential, and then it becomes the future of reality. And the future of reality usually starts when bear markets begin. And then the reality is momentum is lost. Yeah, what's up? Ask a question, man. Ask a question. Ask away. Is this just going to be a week today? I feel like it is on the SPY. Like I said, does it have to roll over? Could we get back up into the 410s? I mean, honestly, anything is possible at this point. Why does the MM sell on the way down, not a little on the rising? I think they do both. Right? They obviously do both, but think about it from the Livermore book. If they're getting at the bottom pricing, right, and they're trading around their positions, they've got shorts and longs, the best way to create the smash factor is to what? Move price down quickly. Right? That's how you get other people to sell. Because people do this by nature. They look at the action and ask questions later. Right? Like think about, for example, Tesla, because this is a good question. Why is it up today? I don't know. But people are just like, I'll buy it anyway, right? You know, the best advertisement for higher prices, higher prices. Well, if the market makers also have shares short, at a certain point, bringing the stock down and dumping it doesn't hurt them. That's how I've always thought of it, and when I understood it from talking to people involved in the business, because they have like a book of long and short, right? Well, as it keeps rising, they're probably growing their book of shorting, right? All right, well, if they have great profits, now again, this is different too probably than the Livermore book, but they're also using options, and that's where I'm always like joking with folks. I'm like, you don't really know what's going, like, oh, that big put, you know, did you see that big put on the QQQ go through, that big large order? And you're like, is that a hedge? Or is that anticipating to drop it down? You don't know. So that's where it's a little dicey in the exact answer of it. But I hope that makes sense. Like, you're going to want to sell on the back end to create the flush. But you're also going to see it if the price action gets too extreme. That's why you see blow off tops or chop tops and you get that volume. You know what I mean? Like, you get like this position. It's just, again, it's just a reoccurring pattern with different, what's the best way to describe it? Like, different reoccurring patterns, right? And a lot of it has to do with emotion, because that's the thing right now. Like, the emotion, say, in a Netflix after it's ran is not the same as Tesla today, right? Or say like Meta today that was like cooking up on the TikTok ban, right? Like, people are very excited for Tesla. They're kind of excited for Meta, and there's no love for Netflix. So, I mean, it just really depends on where you're at in the cycle and what names are floating. And I would consider all of them trash. It's just one catching up with the other, right? Netflix was the first to go. Meta was kind of the second. And now Tesla is the last one to go. Now, the last one might be Apple. That's the big, like, red flag, right? Because, I mean, I think you've seen, I guess, wow, NVIDIA's up a little bit today. AMD's back in the mid-70s. SMH just kind of ticking there towards 240. It's really hard to know. But here's the checklist that you have to write down, and I have written down. Sentiment. Extreme greed. Extreme. This is why I struggle with the, like, CNN and the average, like, extreme greed versus extreme fear kind of indicators, because those indicators, I mean, those are money managers more times than not. I'm trying to look at retail. And when I see retail, like, go look at the Tesla message board. I mean, I got Trader for Life over here telling me I'm a broke clock right twice a day about potentially Tesla being the top today. Okay, I mean, maybe I am a broke clock, and that's what people think. But if I look at this action, I go, wow, look at that gap up, look at the volume, look at the price action, but then also look at the sentiment. I mean, Reddit is balls deep in this, thinking that it's going to the moon. They didn't think that when we talked about you could buy it down here. Do y'all remember that? Nobody thought it down here. Well, now that sentiment just flipped around completely. And it's going moonshot. And now the price action is definitely confirming, people, you have to jump in. You absolutely have to get in. And that's where it gets, okay, yeah, right? Meta, yeah, the 200-day, I think, Drew, you were talking about that. Noticed that and was like, huh, okay. Like I said, that's what I was telling people. Like, the last little ads that I made today were all long-dated puts. I mean, I don't want to play games with this 410 because I could see end of the month, window dressing, also window or profit taking. Keep that in mind. It goes both ways. It's not just, oh, the market goes to the moon, and then what? Everything goes? No. I mean, you're starting to see, like, this is the thing I'm, like, looking at. I mean, again, I don't say Nucor, for example, is the market, but they had decent earnings, rallied up on this gap, made a new high, and then I'm watching today's action. I'm like, wow, the market's rallying. This is starting to fold back. Hey, Kat, can you just get the hell out of there? Yeah. Right? Always something. Right? You're looking at, like, some of these materials names. I'm looking at CF. I'm like, why is this down $1.50? Nat gas just can't get any love. Look at oil today. Anyone watching oil? Anybody? Anybody watching oil? Look at this, man. Pop, flop. Again. Now, is the market going to like oil coming down, or are they start going to realize, like, oil, if the recession is growing, oil might be coming down? What do I consider long-dated puts? I'm going, like, February and March. But here's the thing about puts and calls and whatever options I do trade for swing trades. I take them on the big fast moves, and then I reload different strike prices and different time frames. And depending on what's going on, I'll also lower my risk profile. Meaning, like, if I bought more at the beginning of a swing trade, well, then the ads after taking profits, I'm not going to go twice as big or go bigger. So, for example, say you bought 10 puts on the FAS today, and you bought like the 90 March puts or something. Hey, stop it! Can you stop being a little? If you bought puts and you had 10 of them, and it drops 10 points, you made just 10 grand. Well, I'm not going to buy 15 puts on the bounce, right? Or you can hedge. I mean, there's a lot of different ways. And this is where people are like, well, tell me what you do, how you do it. I can tell you that, but some people don't have the capital because they're usually going all in, or they don't know how it all works. Like, they don't understand how options decay and how the price action, you kind of have to look for the extremes. And sometimes it's technical, no. Sometimes it's just feel. We talked about like the market dumping last week. We're like, be careful. It could rally back into earnings. Well, there it does. And it's right back up at the highs. I mean, that's the thing. And you have to be okay with taking some profits, knowing that there's not guaranteed profits. Because I think that's the mindset that people get into. It's like, oh, I'm going to buy puts, and if it drops, I'm going to get every damn penny and got to be right about it. No, run it like a business. Run it like a casino in the sense like, hey, you're trying to generate profit and be right. I'm going to come over there and knock you around, silly. No, his cat's trying to knock stuff off. So I hope that helps. Not a lot of people around today. I get it is a Friday. And this is kind of where I was trying to like warn people of just, everyone's like, it has to happen next week. The market will drop next week. When everybody starts saying that, what do you think the market's going to try to do? Yeah, the cat's trying to pull something. Yeah, the rug maybe. Trying to pull stuff off my desk, which is hilarious. Does this make sense? Why I'm just sitting here like, and this is where I think I don't mind people expressing their emotions and their thoughts. Just remember like how dumb you kind of can be when you're emotional. And I'm talking about myself too, included. Nobody is immune from this. The Batman top. Oh, we'll see. Oh, you said something about rigged, Scott. Let me check that out. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to ignore you, man. Oh, what did that do? Yeah, I mean, you're up into the resistance zone. Did you see ExxonMobil? I mean, obviously I talk about this in every one of the recaps. Did anyone see that today? What's going on with that? We got up to the like monthly trend line. Here, let me pull up the monthly. We got it. We got it. And now backing off a little bit, right? This, and again, remember Chevron announced that $75 billion buyback, which is absolutely bonkers to me. I mean, that's a huge buyback. But, I mean, I'm trying to explain to people, like, that can't be good for long-term oil prices. They're not investing in finding more oil. They're literally spending the cash to pay back the C-suite and the shareholders. Like, that's a total FU to the Biden administration. Sorry, again, I'm not to be political, but that's the truth. It's like, you want to see lower oil prices? You need to see these guys invest in it. Well, you can't continually attack them and say that they aren't the future. Like, the future is obviously some sort of plan and transition. It's not cold turkey. Yeah, they don't need public funds. No. Yeah, Chevron could essentially go private. That's kind of funny that you say that. Essentially, that's kind of what they are doing. So, SMH, man, who remembers talking about like the 240s? Yeah, Exxon has been on a monster run, like 243. We talked about it could potentially get there. Wow. And this is the thing that I love, just kind of ragging on the semis. I just don't think people understand like how deflationary tech is. And when inflation comes and it anchors in, these companies just have no chance to expand margins. Because there's too many companies building. It's the same thing as like when oil peaks after a materials bull market, right? Now everybody is wildcatting for oil. Everybody's searching out oil. And I think people can understand it when you say oil. But as soon as you say semiconductors, people are like, I don't understand how that's the future. Well, oil was always the future in 2009. There wasn't any other solution. But it's the future. No. Again, you have to think about the companies in the sense of their earnings growth. Everybody and their mom is producing. Even Apple's producing their own chips. If Apple produces their own chips, I mean, is that going to be good for the industry as a whole? No, absolutely not. All these tech companies are like, we're going to make our own chips. Is that good for AMD, Micron, NVIDIA? Just name it. No. Now you've got more competition. It'd be like the car company saying we're going to make our own oil. We're going to drill for our own oil. That's usually the top. Is this clear how obvious that is? That's the top, not the bottom. Right? Because now all of a sudden excess inventory and everybody's trying to vertically integrate and build their own. Whoops. Right? Like what's and this is what happened every time is that you get like this cycle where at the end it's just like a price cut to death. You know, who's still left holding chips? And we're not talking about chocolate chips. First Solar, you're killing me here. Whatever. Not gonna pay attention. You just filled this gap right up here. We'll see what happens. Maybe this is like end of month markup. That's my guess, is that they bought it. They're trying to buy some tan. You can see it. Patience. Trade around it. It's hard, I know. Netflix. It's hard. Hits up the 0.382. Gets over this little trend line. Fills the gap. And again, remember, it's like, I'm always like, people are like, very brutal. Remember we told you could buy this professional gap in this retest? I mean, if you held that, hell yeah. I mean, there's some people that every once in a while come out of the woodwork and be like, hey, I took that trade and held it, thanks. I'm like, nice work. Nice work, compadre. Most people just, again, like, people are like, oh, you're a broke clock, right, twice. And it's like, no, I'm usually very, 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 like, close or early. And when we're wrong, we're usually not dead wrong. It's not like, if you shorted today, that I think you're going to be dead wrong. Or if you shorted on pops, as we referenced last week, right? That wasn't wrong. If you shorted up here, yeah, you're probably early. I mean, I've got some stuff I'm early on, traded around. Some stuff tried to, and some I'm just like, well, I got longer dates. I know my max pain. I'm not going nuts as much as and I think everybody probably feels this way too, is falling like. And I think, who is it? Mr. Oops is like, I just can't stop shorting. I'm like, I feel your pain here. Because that's what makes sense. But here's the thing. We are in this, like, I would say, like the dynamic of bulls are entrenching for the long run that they're going to hold, and bears are giving up. I think you're going to get a pullback into the close today. The only question is, do you think the market's going to absolutely dump and unload before the Feds? No. I mean, I could see 395. 400 before the Feds. I mean, I could see that absolutely. That wouldn't surprise me one bit. But to get the actual, adios amigos, grand salami slammer, probably not until the Feds say, hey, you idiots, we're not cutting rates. And they're going to try to say things are good too. Because, right, what's the unemployment rate? 3.5%? I mean, that's their max, unemployment rate, right? Like that's what they can literally get to. I mean, I don't think you can get much lower than that, which we all know is kind of a fugazi. It's not real. Like those numbers, like wherever they pull them out of, they're behind. Does this make sense? Again, I appreciate people who are hanging out if you have the time. Like, please ask questions, because I know this is where I can actually, typing stuff and trying to give like references. Like, it's really hard. For some reason, every time now when I try to post something, I got to fix my Q charts, or not Q charts, e-signal. I get this stupid signal, cannot perform application. So I apologize. I haven't posted as many charts. I don't know why. Twitter's not letting me drop my charts. So people are like, oh, you disappeared. I'm like, no, I didn't disappear. I can't get anything to damn post. I have to go through like StockTwits and pull it from StockTwits, and it's just, I don't know, another layer of complexity I don't really want to deal with. I got other things to watch. Dollar. Could it get down a little lower? I think so. But here's the thing. Let me do my dollar rant that I haven't maybe done in a while. The last move is always what? The straight line move. Is this over, in my opinion? No. I mean, I think we're going into a global recession. Like, this isn't just the U.S. Are we all in agreement here? I mean, Japan is got the printer on and it's not doing anything, ultimately that's going to stop what's going to happen. And so I think personally, once the dollar finds its bottom and starts screaming again, because the Feds are going to raise. I mean, I say this all the time, and I don't mean it in jest. I mean it seriously. Like, the Feds care way more about the dollar than they do the stock market. Let's at least, like, create the hierarchy, right? They care about they care about the dollar, they care about the bond market, then they care about the stock market, right? Like, the stock market gives them shield and can kind of influence what they want. But remember, they sold all their stocks last year. Do you guys remember that? September, November, whatever it was, not even last year, 2021. They said, oh, we can't hold stocks anymore. We think it's they basically, it's like turning in stolen documents. Oh, we're self-reporting. We shouldn't do this anymore. Oh, we shouldn't buy stocks anymore. We shouldn't be able to hold stocks if we're involved in the Federal Open Market Committee. It's like, yeah, because the bubble's over, you idiots. You have no, and again, now they have no, what's the best, they don't have an alignment of interest to want to keep the market up. Now, I know they're, what's it called? I'm trying to think of the right word. The people who are pulling the strings essentially want it up and down at certain points, but okay. Okie dokie. We'll see how that one goes. What's going on? I'm just trying to like pull through. Man, gold. That was a quick drop this morning. And pop back. We'll see. I mean, this is the hardest part about timing. I mean, I guess I could probably pull this down to here. It seems like if it breaks the 178, game over. Sideways and gold. All right, we'll see what happens here. Now, this is the thing. I mean, got a little bit of that, got a little this, a little bit of here and there. And I've told people this 1,000 times with, Fed rate hike, add April, then hold. I mean, this is the thing about and here's we all want to try to project everything out. And we can try, but does it matter as much as like what we know now? And what we know now is that the Feds were not going to be cutting rates. That whole like cutting rate idea, that's not happening yet. Now we know it's getting worse out there. I mean, we're reading layoffs. And here's the thing too, that I think a lot of people just they just glance by this and they think, oh, it's maybe not a big deal. Unemployment, in my opinion, it's going to be more structural than it is like affectable by the Feds. AI, automation. I mean, I don't want to really have a conversation about it, but I just want like in the back of people's minds, like the next, economic job loss. I don't think we're ever going to get back to the unemployment rate that we're at now. Do we all not agree? Or does someone have something else? Did I miss something in this whole rant that might not be true? Because I really think once AI automation kind of kicks in, right? Like that trend is not going to unwind. It's not like all of a sudden you're going to have more and more, like jobs are coming back. Reading about like, McDonald's, for example. And again, McDonald's isn't the economy, but, like they're going to have stores without workers in them other than like a manager or two. It's a cool future, but that's not cool if you're a burger flipper. And that was your aspirations out of high school. So, I mean, I think you're going to be in this like inflationary government spending, trying to get interest rates low, like slog of a bear market / traders market for, I mean, again, I don't know who can fix this at this point. I mean, they brought in Trump. Whether you liked him or not, he was trying to fix it, but he's also spending way too much money. So that was a problem. They create COVID, clearly, to knowing that any sitting president has never won re-election with negative GDP. Accomplished that pretty good. The system that got him out, whether you like him or not. I mean, that's I always kind of laugh at people when they're like, oh, you're a Republican. I'm like, no, I'm a realist. I look at what the money does and how the stuff works. I hate both parties equally. They're both crap. But Trump was trying to do one thing that the globalists hated, right? What was that? Bring jobs back to America. Bring the economy, globalization essentially, right? Like bring back our own manufacturing. They really hated that, right? But it's always ironic that people who, talk about, again, I'm just ranting here unless someone has a question, they talk about conservancy and they're like, Well, I want things to be made well and ethically. Well, then you don't make them overseas. Well, I want things to be cheap. Well, that's the problem. You can't have both. They don't really go hand in hand. That argument always kind of makes me chuckle because it's like, how can you be for both? I want things to be done ethically and sourced correctly, and I want it cheap. When someone comes and does say someone paints your house, you say, I want it done ethically and cheap, or I want it done ethically, quick, and cheap. They don't really all go together. You know, it's just, that's how stuff works. Does this make sense? Anyone listening, did I get cut off? Because I kind of laugh about that all the time. Oh, you want a cheap iPhone? Well, then, of course, they better make it in India or China. Oh, but they should bring the jobs back. Well, you can't have both. You're going to have to pay a premium for now for a phone till the manufacturing gets built, or you don't. Just kind of watching markets chopping, bonds. Yeah, this is a Friday. I still think they're going to pull the rug at some point. And maybe they pull it higher. That's the biggest question mark. That's why I keep telling people, like, if you have bullets and you're firing them, know your losses. But please, going all in, no. I've not screamed all in once, and I don't recommend it at all because at this point we don't know. Like, there could be the second cheese gets the trap kind of thing, or the first mouse gets the trap. I mean, what if this is the Fed day? You get this like pullback, you make a slightly higher high, boom. And so if the market does drop, take some. Definitely take some. Great timing on Lucid PR while Tesla's running. Yeah, I hear you, troublemaker. I hear you. What do you want, huh? What do you want? Come here. Come here. First time I've ever been able to catch one of these lives. Yeah, well, Ryan, you got me one-on-one if you essentially want to ask any question you want. If you want to talk junk, make fun of me, I don't care either. I think it's all for fun in the end, in the sense of your decision is your decision, my decision's my decision. I can influence you, you can influence me, but we've all got to ultimately be sound in our decision making. Like, I always laugh, people are like, that was wrong. Yeah, okay. You're only as good as your last trade. Think about your own account balance. Like, are you always right? No. Oh, but I'm aspiring to be always right. Okay, well then, if you're aspiring to be always right in a probability-based game, then you probably shouldn't play it. Or you should be incredibly picky and trade once a quarter, a month, a week, whatever your time frames. Some people do that. It does pretty good. Oh, you cat, you are just circling. You were just circling, looking for trouble. Nucor, man, I'm surprised Nucor hit the sled like that. I think they got an upgrade this morning. Taiwan semi-flat, semi's back at 240. Can you go over support on the way down if we're correct? Yeah. So support at this point with the SPY, now that I got it up. Let's always start on the time frames, because I always tell people this. Like, if you are trading, you're starting on the daily or the 2-hour chart, you're really kind of missing out. Here we are on the monthly, right? Are we going to close with a wick? Possibly. Maybe the Feds could do that, right? Potentially. I'll go to gold here in a second, Ryan. That's a good one. I mean, we're coming into the what? Congestion, right? I mean, how do you want to draw it? Something like this? I don't know. Congestion, right? A lot of muscle memory here. So, all right, well, there's your monthly. Let's check out the weekly. You can see congestion here. You got the point. No, that's not correct. I got to update that one. Over the 0.382. You got the 0.5 up here. Here's your congestion high. This is interesting. Like, it's an old channel that I had a channel top. Now, again, I leave these lines on here just in case. Sometimes they matter. Sometimes they don't. However, you can draw... I mean, you can draw this a million different ways. There's older trend lines that I remember I had drawn. I remember this one kind of I deleted this. Let me see if I get it right. I can't all of a sudden draw. I had something like this. Let me pop it up just a little bit to connect to the bottom of that. So we're over that. It's tough to know. It's tough to know near term, and that's the hardest part about trading is sometimes, you know, you laugh at the people who, and again, laugh may be the wrong word, but think about the folks who bought Tesla, right? Like they just see green and they don't zoom out, and they're going, oh, okay, well, I guess it's going higher. Well, then they look at, whoa, what happens when it gets near 180? Can you go a little higher? Can you go a little lower? We talk about this all the time. Like, that's one of the things that makes trading so hard, are the traps. You know, going higher, going lower from a swing point induces breakout traders, short covering. You know what I mean? Like, it gets extra volume. It hits the stop. So there's your weekly. I mean, 380 has been pretty important. Like, the most recent couple weeks, you got this mid 380s. You'll see it down the daily. I mean, personally, I think near term, if we do pull back, seems very likely 400 to the 395. Then after that, you know, 388. And after that, I'd say 383 down here in the 380 range. But keep in mind, I mean, again, the VIX is at stupid low levels. And this is what worries me about the near term of, like, the market in the sense of when it's ready to roll. I mean, this thing could wake up very quickly. And here, and again, speaking of patting myself on the back when we've been right about a lot of big things, do you guys remember we talked about in October the market did not confirm with the VIX, and what happened? The VIX came down. Market essentially bottomed. People keep talking about Lucid. I'll get there in a second. Man, that stock has always been a piece of crap to me. Gold stuck up here around it's like 1950. 180 on the GLD. Here's the thing. If the Feds are going to not be cutting rates, and this was all predicated on rallying on what? A Fed pivot? What happens when they're like, yeah, we're not pivoting. We're going to probably slowly increase. Saudi takeout with Lucid? Like, they're actually buying, like, the Saudis are actually buying Lucid? Is that the headline? Damn. I did not read that again, but I also don't follow it. CC. Ah! Well, that'll get Tesla blowing off top. That, again, because they can't afford Tesla. But, man, they just run rumor or confirmed. I mean, that looks pretty strong rumor, whether it's rumor or confirmed. But here's the confirmed. Here's the thing that, you know, if you're thinking about, like, many iterations down in the future, is that good for Tesla or bad? That the Saudis basically are going to take over Lucid. Is that good for Tesla? Anyone want to answer that question? Is that good for Tesla? I would think not. It means more legitimate more legitimate competition. Give me 2 seconds. Let me check briefing.com, because if briefing.com has this rumor, it's probably floating around. Charles Schwab down 4%. Recent cautious interest margin guidance and winter update. Yeah, they're bad. Yeah, dude, everyone, it's so much bad news that the market's kind of ignoring it. And that's the thing that the market does, right? At times, it tries to ignore the information to bring in the bulls to think that there's a bull market. Now, again, it works when there is a bull market. But I think, again, yeah, jumps on being move out, attributed to a buyout. What time was that out? Saudis buying Lucid. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Is Lucid Motors? I forgot. They're Chinese, right? Yeah, halted for the 4. Okay. Lucid's Chinese. Are they not? Am I thinking of someone else? There's so many of these damn electric companies. They were partnered before. Yeah, didn't they have partnerships with GM? I mean, didn't they have a whole bunch of crap? Yeah, CCIV, that was another flopper. Based out of Cali. Okay, they're based out of Cali. Who was I thinking? Oh, I don't know. Hey, quit it over there. Come on, man. You're just trying to rip my office apart. I'm going to boot you. I thought they were Chinese based. I couldn't be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of another one. Oh, I'm thinking of I don't trade these names. That's interesting. Halted again. Lucid jumps to high, then moving true to a buyout rumor. Man, that was at $9 when it came out. Now it's at 15, 16. It's interesting that rumor comes out. Okay, well, they're buying them. I wonder if that'll get a regulatory approval. I'm just curious. If I'm Tesla, I'm fighting that one hard. It's funny that this rumor comes out. Yeah, okay, cool. Good for the info. Yeah, I'm thinking of Neo. I think I am thinking of Neo. Old Tesla engineer went over to Lucid. Yeah, that's funny because I don't think that information is good for Tesla. I think the irony of it. If you get a really big pocket backer for competition, I mean, maybe it's good for Lucid because the stock was in the dirt. But now fund flows come out of Tesla. They come out of other car companies, and they start going into Lucid. Now, again, I don't know how much higher it can go, what the real value is, or what they will accomplish. That's interesting, though. Huh. Lucids are really nice cars. Okay, I trust you on that one. I've seen them, but not up personal. I mean, obviously seen Teslas in person. And let's be honest, I think Teslas are not very good high-quality cars, you know. Like, you notice the gaps between the doors and the frame. Paint's always peeling. The upholstery is junk. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're pretty crappy in my opinion. They look, and again, my wife thinks they look like crap. I think they're okay. But whatever opinions are that. Man, Charles Schwab. I'm just reading something. Again, because you guys can't see here. I'll post what I look at. Again, if you buy Briefing, I think it's $540 a year. It always tells you what's kind of going on. This is an advertisement for Briefing. You know, it tells you the conferences. It talks, it breaks down their earnings, like guidance, Boeing to hire this year. You know, like news lines as they come out. Like you have to. If you used to have Bloomberg Terminal, you're familiar with it. It's very it's a cheaper version, which I think is very, very nice in the sense that it'll tell you, all right, there's some unusual option activity. Here's the guidance. Here's what's going on. Nintendo covered, like upgrades, downgrades, Biden speaking, all the little things that make it fun versus always having to search Twitter or what's going on. And also economic data as it's dropped. It's a pretty cool website. I think, what are we? The Briefing Investor. What is this? What's my package? They've changed. I mean, I think I've had it for like 20 years. They've had like different levels. What are we? What are we at? Briefing and current subscriber, Briefing Investor annually. It's $540 a year. Not too bad. Not too bad. Unhalted. Let's get back. Let's see the race in Lucid. This is funny, man. Probably, yeah, I was going to say. Probably doesn't go lower. When's it unhalt? Oh, halted again. Oops. I mean, it was like unhalted for like 30 seconds. I'd be interested to see if this puts Tesla in a weird position, because I swear to God, if I owned Tesla and I saw this news, I'd dump Tesla and buy Lucid. Maybe not today, but I mean, what's the market cap on Tesla? Anyone want to take a wild guess? I'll look it up. Anyone know what the market cap is for Tesla? Just off the top of their head. What is the Tesla market? Well, but you're not buying just cars only. Okie dokie, whatever you say. The market cap is $560 billion as of today's price. Lucid Motors, $30 billion. Do the math there, right? Like 5% of the value. I mean, so I can see how. Damn, what? Look at tech, it's just freaking ripping. I mean, I could see why somebody would pull money and put it into here and diversify their investing if they're like trying to get green. Lucid Group. I mean, I'm assuming, yeah, they're earning, wow, good God, they're losing $2 or $3 billion expected in 2022. That's not good. I mean, they're at the cash burn. You know, you guys ever watch the show Shark Tank? Because I like to give references of people, stuff people may have watched, and it's like, this is going to be, then, you know, like Kevin O'Leary or someone who's like, this is going to burn, you guys are going to burn a lot of cash before you make money. How am I ever going to get my cash back? That's a question you'd have to ask. You'd have to be very long-term invested. Man, SMH, you son of a biscuit. You son of a biscuit. People are just going to be trolling hard. And again, sometimes that's the point. I like to see people trolling. Intel, yeah, I mean, this thing is, I still remember all last year. You're like, oh, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. Okay. All right. Intel, dead. Dead on arrival. DOA. Gold flat. Man, Qs. IWM still lagging. DIA still lagging. SPY lagging the Qs, that's for sure. Up against the range highs. I mean, I think some of the like the easiest trades, maybe the quickest trades, at some point are involved with the Qs. Just this lucid takeout. Man, will Tesla get up to like 180? Could it get up into the 185s? That feels very, very, very interesting to short. But I just don't know if I want to take on that trade, because I still think at a certain point, man, this market won't die. That's the problem. I feel like they're going to rug pull it Friday afternoon, but here we are, right? This is why you do this. Here come the Qs. Back to the land, like the top of this VAP zone. Man, that would be nuts. I don't see the Qs really ripping too much from here. I think Apple's going to drop a bomb on the market at some point. It's just, again, it's kind of like Microsoft. Like Microsoft's like, yeah, we give up. Like they're saying like, it's going to be bad. And then the market rallies off of that news. Well, it's been down a decent amount. Apple, similar boat. Right? Breaking downtrend, 100-day. Could it get the 200-day? Could it get back up into the 150? Now it's seeming a little more likely. But do you want to chase it? I mean, we talk about like extreme greed and fear. Like this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 approximate days of straight up. Because again, I mean, you never had, I lied. You had 2 circumstances where you made lower lows and lower highs, or 3, I guess, but it was only 2 days. And so the second day you had to buy the pullback. That's not really shaking out bulls, if you get my drift. Like, look at that. That doesn't shake out anybody. Well, again, I mean, I'm surprised that if we can get over 40-60 on the ES, which we are. I mean, I know JP Morgan's probably applying the straddle more and more. Can we get up to 4,100? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible. But I'd be very curious. And again, this is the contract rolls over. And obviously, this is where all the volume is, right? Could we long wick out and then flop? Yeah, 40.93. Is this going to be a wick? That's what I anticipate it to be, honestly. I mean, because still, look at, I always talk about, like, where was the market on the first day of the month, right? 1.3, right? 12.30, yeah. Here you go. 3,800, now up what? Almost 300 points. If I had a company that was institutionally based that had gains off of buying the dips like we talked about, you could have bought early January, late December, like we talked about. Remember, everyone said that chop was going to end badly. I was like, I think it probably resolves higher first because everyone was still bearish, right? Well, guess what? It did resolve higher. Now, if I would have been smart enough to buy that, I'm absolutely taking profits up here. I'm not anticipating a new bull market. I'm still saying to myself, it's a trader's market. I'm not some naive, 15-year-old on StockTwits going, oh, look at the price action. Wee-hee, I'm getting bullish. What percentage have we rallied? I would say it's about, it's almost 10%, right? It's almost exactly 10%. Yeah. SMH, man, yeah, about to be green. Unreal. Yeah. So, if you made 10% in a month, and again, this is the thing about people don't realize, like the market makers, smart money, they trade around their positions. Are you looking to add here, or are you using the liquidity to sell? That's all you have to ask yourself. Like, imagine if you had a ton of inventory, and that's why I always love the rules from AC. Yeah, I'll pop them up real quick. Who dat? Oh. Where is it? Reference articles. Let me just pull this in. I love this. I absolutely love this. The expansion of communication media will bring more people in the market, tending to increase volatility at stock price as they increase elements of supply and demand. In order to buy and sell huge quantities of stocks, exchange members will seek new ways to enhance their sales techniques through the use of the mass media. What if this Lucid rumor is a lie? That's going to be hilarious. But maybe it's not. I don't know. Does it make sense, the Saudis? If that's the rumor, Saudis, it's... Man, look at all these EV names. Look at this, guys. I'll post this. Post this to the main room. Like, check this out. Handful of EV names. You got FSR 25, Rivian 13, PSNY 10, XPEV, Nikola. All these names going bonkers. Lucid up 100% for the day. Oh, they unlocked it. That's, see, I think something that I know maybe some of y'all have, and you've actually lived through. So like 3D printer stocks, or, solar stocks, or EVs, or marijuana. There's always been like these hot little trends within the market, right? And people are like, oh, this is the next one, I got to get on it. And what people realize is that 90% of those little flitters of excellence are temporary, because if there's not really barriers to entry, it can get pretty competitive quickly. That's kind of always the joke with the marijuana stocks. Is always they're like, oh, if it just gets legalized, these stocks will go to the moon. All right. Thing is, Saudis have always backed them with their first billion investment during the bull market. Oh, well, that changes everything. Thank you for pulling that up, Drew. Because if I'm the Saudis now, that's one way to freaking pop it, bro. Yeah, how many car companies in the 1920s? 44. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're the Saudis, this is how you're trying to get your money back. You got to create this rumor, and or they got to put more money into it. Because clearly if they bought it last year, put money into it, they basically down. Yeah, how many car companies are in the 1944? Like, how many electric car companies do there need to be before all these companies start realizing, like, they're not going to survive? Love these chats, man, because everybody has some good insights and opinions. Not many people. I feel like I lost a lot of people in the last couple days. A lot of people are just like, this guy's just not that. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's like the people who've been around, they're like, we appreciate your insight. We know you typically can be early or you're looking at it from the perspective of the market maker. And it's not like a today at 12 p.m., here we go, market pull, let's get it started. Yeah. Takeover has no effect on Lucid sales. No, I agree. I think the only thing that it's doing is, and this is an example, a classic example of you know, how I've been saying over the last couple of days, like really dumb money is just going out there and buying anything and everything that is moving up and saying, game on. Game on. Is anyone else noticing that? Like, I mean, that's the thing. That's why I like looking at, I mean, I followed a few other Discord rooms and I don't really post in them too much. I was a little like trying here and there, but I'm like, man, this is just like complete gambling. Like, I don't even want, like, I'm just going to get yelled at for trying to be rational. Being like, hey, do you really want to gamble all the time and try to make 1,000% on every trade? And it's like, yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, exactly. That usually signals a top. And that's the thing. I mean, I've said this. Maybe at one point going to the future, there's only like 20 people every day that listen to this and talk and we hang out. Because I think a lot of people are going to find themselves like they can't break away from the herd. And they can't like unwire all of the bad habits that they have. And again, I still talk to a few of the people who've been in the room and they hit me up and, you know, it's amazing. I feel like they're the same, but they think they're different sometimes. It's like, they're like, you're wrong. Like, you know, they only pop up when I'm early or wrong. And that's, again, I don't sit there and go watch their feeds and go, you're wrong on that. And you're wrong on that. Oh, yeah, I remember you said you should short Tesla at 150. I saw your tweet. Okay, how's it, you know? No, I'm not going to call them out. Don't care. I see this stuff. So just be careful when you're trolling me, because I'll always double check. Because usually people project anger by attacking others when they're pissed off with themselves. Keep that in mind. Damn, Mara down. Yeah, like, I mean, like these crypto names I mean, people were saying this is like hot stuff. There's, you know, and I was looking in this other room and they were like, look at SATX. Buy the dip on this. And I'm like, buy what? Huh? Excuse me? Like, it's just any stock that's down, just buy it. I'm like, huh, okay. Right on, Captain. Whatever you say. And so that's where I think the awareness, and like, this is where it's good to be able to talk about this. And, you know, if you have a different opinion, I might seem harsh through text on Discord because I don't have enough time to describe the comments potentially with care and love. I just type something quickly. But honestly, like I said, I really don't mind the discord of not necessarily agreeing and having differing opinions. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to be in an echo chamber. Yeah, Ryan, good chatting with you, man. I appreciate the love and support. And yeah, have a great weekend, man. If you're looking at some of these names within the market, just be thoughtful about next week. Because, I mean, here's the thing also, too, which you're going to 100% get. The volatility index is not going to get cheaper going into next week. I can guarantee that. You're like, what are you talking about? Yeah, do you not think protection's going to get a lot more expensive next week in front of the feds? Dan, you're crazy for shorting. Okay, maybe I won't be right today. And I'm totally comfortable with that. But it has to be right now. Okay. Does it? Oh, but the VIX this and that, the market's this and the market can rise and the VIX can rise. Yeah, I know. But this and the all right, I always love saying this saying because Livermore was right. You don't know until you bet. Everybody's, you know, a Monday quarterback, armchair quarterback, whatever. Everyone knows what the best play or where somebody should have done something when they're not in the game themselves. Like, that's always just so funny to me. And that's why I try not to be very judgmental of people's trades initially, unless I look at it and go, okay, well, let's analyze it and let's see what your perspective is. You know, are you trying to be right away? So, I mean, I think you're at I don't know, you're just at a point where there's not an easy answer. Sorry, someone's texting me. You're investing $100K just to get it up to date. She should buy Willow. We saw this sweet property yesterday. I mean, it's I think they bought the house for 1.2, but they sank at least $300K into it, and now they're selling it, and it's sitting. And I was telling somebody, or actually, yeah, I'm telling my business partner, you need to convince your client that if she really wants to buy a new build, or get $100,000 off an older build, she should look at the pricing in comparison, right? Like if you buy a new build, remember, you got to furnish it. You're going to have to put lines in it. You're going to have to buy appliances. You're probably going to have to do some sweet customization because the builder's going to do some okay stuff, but a lot of basics. So you might spend $100,000. So it's like, why not buy the house that's already been tricked out, that's sitting there, and try to get it at around the market price versus buying the new build, which might be brand new versus 3 years old. But I don't know. It's funny trying to think of like cars. Maybe some of you guys have bought cars before, you know, in the sense of like ones that are a little older that are tricked out. Especially I cared about that stuff when I was younger versus the brand new one that you have to like throw a bunch of money into just to get it to that point. I used to do that with Jeeps. Even if the Saudis were to buy the remainder of Lucid, why would they offer 100% premium to the price of the last 20 days? No, I agree. Coyote, if you're listening, I mean, that makes no sense why they would pay more for Lucid right now. Makes no sense at all. They wouldn't pay more. And again, I honestly just keep this in the back of your mind always. Like, rumors aren't meant to come out to get retail paid. Like, if I was in a Lucid position and I was down, I'd probably be looking to unload. Think about the Livermore book. I wonder what Pal is thinking today. If I had a guess, is it still going nuts? Oh, it's already dropping? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, again, these rumors aren't, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, more times than not, you're not going to get paid on it. Like, imagine all these people got caught. And this is where, like, the gambling part of this, I'm like, getting involved in this now. It's like, man, you're just playing games. You're just playing games, hoping you're going to be right. Oh, gosh. Roth, I hope you're wrong. Gosh, what a joke of a day. Down, up, all over, rumors. Roth, if you're listening, calling you out because I love you. I want to be right here. I want to see the rug pull. You were saying you're going to wait till Monday, which at this point looks smart. I just have this like strong intuition that everybody's thinking the same thing. That's the one thing that I'm a little concerned about, a Friday close here near the high. I don't see it. Because remember, the last 3 trading days of the month, right? When does that start? Today, Junia. Today. So we'll see what happens. I could be wrong. Roth might be right here. Maybe I'm a little early adding some of these shorts for the long dated stuff. Man, look at Nucor. Why is that pulling back? Again, I'm looking at these commodity names, like these industrial names, things that I think actually have value, and they're just going nowhere. And then I'm seeing like just trash, like literally trash. Like I can smell it through my computer on my watch list. And I'm like, ugh, what is that? That smells like Bigfoot's dick. That smells like a diaper full of, what was it? Was it Indian food diaper or something? I can't remember. Anchorman. Love trying to pull quotes. I just screwed that one up, but works 60% of the time, all the time. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You could have a hard gap down on Monday. Maybe. This is the problem that we don't know over the weekend, is that who is going to say what? Because I think at a certain point, and I'll wrap this up here in a couple minutes, like what's the upside? 410, 415, maybe? Maybe it's like that big gap and trap, maybe. I don't know. I have like this sneaky suspicion that, again, I'm sorry, you don't know the levels, but you can tell by the way that people are acting and the way that you read online comments. And again, people realize, like, and again, I've said this over time, like, the people who know me know, like, again, the trolling stuff, I don't care, but I actually thoroughly like to see it at certain inflection points, right? Like if Solomon's listening, like, he's screaming Tesla at 200, bull market starting. Okay. Gotcha. Now, again, we talked about you could buy Tesla at the lows, and today is the only day that I actually seen go on record. Didn't say you should short. I said you could look at areas to take profits or sell because you had the 0.618, right? Talked about maybe here. Well, now you're on the monthly stuff, right? And this is where it gets a little trickier for folks because, again, nobody's looking at this. Remember, these day traders, the average Joe is just, or Jane or Jex is not looking at this. They're not looking at this. They're just looking at this. Yeah, baby. Let's go. So, Qs, volume on the Qs. Ooh, let's take a look. Give me the 10-minute. Give me the. I don't know about a ton of volume. Nothing crazy. I don't even. It's kind of funny. Like I don't even really chart the Qs anymore because it's just kind of dead to me. But clearly, we need to at this point. Do you have a trend here? Yeah, there it is. Top there, back test there. Let's keep drawing. Let's keep doing it. Okay, so I guess that's the approximate next one. So I always talk about trend lines back testing. Like you start to see that a lot. Okay, you got, remember this includes all hours. Here's your little channel. I mean, is this like the breakout, the fake out, the pump and dump? What is that? Holy crap. What are you looking at there, Drew? Ugh, typos. What's wrong? No, everybody's, yeah, again, Coyote, I don't know if you can listen to this. Harry, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm with you, dude. I mean, everybody's bullish. I mean, I think I told you last week I got phone calls and texts and like emails from people who have been sitting on the sidelines for, to them, what seems like forever because we told them to get out or they didn't get out and they're just like genuinely unsure of what to do and they're just going hard. They're going all in. And so that to me always is like a very big red flag. I probably need to check Twitter. Maybe I've got some more trolling comments just to see if I got anything for fun. No, not really. No. Going to happen soon. Should I be right? Okay, everyone thinks it's going to rally into the FOMC, I guess. Yeah. This is the problem, Austin, if you're listening on here. When everyone thinks something's going to happen, you got to start like thinking the opposite, right? It's no different than the same psychology of, bullishness or what, right? Like everyone's all in, bulls, bears, whatever you want to talk about. Like the same kind of thing has to be kind of wrapped around like circumstantial stuff too. Because didn't we talk about this? If the market rallied into the financials earnings, what was going to happen? Everybody thought, well, this is good. The market's going to go higher. Well, then what happens? The SPOOs pull back, and SPY pulls back 10 points. Right? Like financials, they're going to be good. Oh, okay. They were, I would consider fair to mediocre. Some banks better than others, but what happened? They pull back. Speaking of financials, okay, FAS is still under 87. Good. Financials are not participating. Well, you got to be very like cognizant of all of this. Because if now everybody starts thinking something, is the market positioning to do something else? Like and again, this is why this is always a game of mental probabilities and trying to think about like how to outsmart the market and anticipate it. Because this is the one thing that is so difficult, timing. Because if everybody thinks I'll just sell next week, that's why I think maybe there might be a rug pull on a Friday, right? Or I'll sell on the Fed day. Maybe it's Monday, and Roth is correct. Does this make sense? Because this is the problem here, right? Is now that you've got people endlessly buying without consciousness, right? Like think about if you're told, believe, whatever, that you don't need to sell until tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday. Well, do you think the market makers, do you think institutions, do you think hedge funds are unloading into the last 3 business days of the month? Do you think they're taking advantage of this liquidity? I mean, put yourself in a position too. Like this is the hardest thing. Put yourself in the position of the market maker. You're trying to trick the most amount of people the most amount of time. That's why people say like you're a contrarian. I'm like, no, I'm trying to think like the market makers. I'm trying to think like what they've done before, what I've seen, what I've lived through, what I've actually been stuck and screwed by. And this would be one of those occasions where I'd sit here and go, I think the market's going to be fine until next week. I think the market's going to rally into the Fed. I think the market's going to rally into the Apple earnings. I think the market... Okay, if everybody starts to believe that, does it mean it's going to happen? If everybody thinks that they can buy from now until then, what would you be doing if you're on the other end of this? Would you be selling? I mean, if I was long right now, absolutely. Yeah, stocks only go up. Yeah, is Portnoy back in the game? Is he back? Is he back? Is he back televising his trading? God, what a mess. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. And I said this when he started doing this in 2021. I was like, he is absolutely gonna get throttled, and you're gonna know that he's gonna be done trading at some point. He will not be able to handle this. I was like, there's zero chance in hell he's surviving based on the way he did. You feel it in your bones. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they have no fear because they keep buying the dips. Yeah, I mean, I feel it in my loins. How about that? Like Anchorman's. Or no, it's not Anchorman. Oh, God. Kenny Powers. He's talking to Will Ferrell, and he's that car dealership in Wilmington, North Carolina. That's where they film it. I actually saw some of those guys down at the bars way back in the day. He's like, yeah, I feel it in my plums, deep in my loins. I mean, that's what I think the market's going to pull back at the end of the day. I mean, if I was the market makers, again, it's the last 3 business days of the month. I am not trying to get cued into next week. That's all I would say on that. Let me check the what's on docket for earnings. Let me check real quick because I know what kind of is coming. I just want to make sure. Clearly, someone at Lucid is. Let me see what Lucid is doing. You guys are making me laugh with this thing. Stop and go. Oh! I bought it. Look, we bought it. Stop. God, the market is such a... Man, I want to be the market makers. I quit, guys. I just want to start taking your bets in the market. Right? That's what they think. Right? It's just like, I'd rather just take your bets in the market. I don't need to do anything else. We know you'll lose. The rumor was false. No, imagine that. You got Baker Hughes. Tuesday, you got 3M. No, that's this week. Sorry. Rumor's false. Just kidding. I don't know. I mean, this is the kind of crap, though. I mean, I feel like everybody here talking gets this. This is the kind of crap you see, not at the bottom. This is the stuff you see at tops, where just people are like jumping around from rumor to rumor, going all in, trying to get rich, and it's like, I made $100. Bah. All right, let's see what we got next week. On Monday, Whirlpool after the close, Caterpillar Tuesday. Let's actually check this out. This is what here. If you stuck around, you got to the best part actually. Let's look at names going into earnings next week. Caterpillar. Oh boy. Oh shit. Excuse my language. That is not what you want to see going into earnings. Okay? That's just my guess. I would not if I no. Nope. Whirlpool. This thing looks like dead money. Again, another big one. Okay, ExxonMobil, we already know that's at the highs. That's on Tuesday morning. McDonald's, Mickey D's. I mean, I probably bet they've been on fire. I don't know. All right, shopping. That could go either way. Remember, I used to do a ton of earnings trades, and I just found out very, very slowly that there's really no edge. You're just kind of rolling the dice. Oh, you got Snap on Tuesday. Oh yeah. Snapchat, gotta love that one. Not nap. Is it nap time? Snap time. Jeez. Okay. Maybe it'll pull a Lucid. You got AMD. We already know where AMD is at. It's kind of chopping near its range highs. It's on Tuesday. I'm trying to think of any other big names that are in the Dow or that matter. Wednesday, no, nothing crazy. Wednesday, Meta. Obviously, that's running into the highs. Nothing else. Baba on Thursday. God, you gotta love. Remember we talked about earnings, playing with the feds and all that stuff. That's always fun. Where's Baba? Bet this thing has been absolutely on fire. What? Not Bob. Baba. Yeah. I bet 50. Wow. All right, I guess the bull market's back on. Had some decent little up trades. Some of these names. No. Did I miss it? Where's Apple? When is Apple? I thought Apple was coming. Did I miss that one? Oh, there it is. After the close Thursday. Wow. This is crazy how they used to not do this. Google, Amazon, and Apple Thursday after the close. They used to all be very spread out over like one to be on a Tuesday, Wednesday, the previous week, the following week. Now they're all the same day. Good God. Good God. Let's look at the economic data for next week as well. 40, yeah, I guess you're getting your 4,100 incoming. Incoming. Okay, for FOM right. Oh, this is a fun. Wow. You know, I was just thinking about it. I was like, and this is what I wanted to check. You got jobs next week, and you got the feds. You got some decent data on Tuesday. Got ISM manufacturing. You got a lot of decent data on Wednesday. Wow. Take a deep breath. Wow, look at oil. What is going on with oil? Netflix down. SMH trying to go. Oh, SOX is. Damn, I should probably buy some more calls on that one. All right. Where do I want to buy stock? This one looks. Again, I don't know about you, but I would take 26 to 45. I don't know. I'd take a 23 to 40. SMH meltdown. Meta at the 200-day. Yeah, I mean, it's there. Wow. Let me make sure the Soxus isn't like too cheap to where it doesn't rally enough. Yeah, no, I would take that 27 to 45 if you did 23 up to 35, 40. Things got crazy enough, maybe up in the 50s. Yeah, I think it's time to add a little more Soxus. SMH filled the gap. I mean, you're about there. Could it get to the 243? Yeah, I mean, you're close enough for government work with Meta. Intel. I'm assuming Intel is what is trying. I mean, all right, here's another example of dumb money, right? Just buying the dip. That's pretty sad, actually. Honestly, I thought I'd look back and it'd be at the 29 level. This thing is just not even. You know, they talk about like dead cat bounces. It's a dead cat. It's just a dead cat. That is just a dead cat. Okay. Damn, it's already been an hour 20. All right, I'm going to wrap this up unless anyone has a really important question. Again, I don't. Yeah, Tesla short term. I mean, I think, wow, SPY 407. We're going to break out of this little channel, going into the feds, going into big earnings next week. Like we talked about, 410. Yeah. Green. You see how we talk about like overbought greed? Like ever since that low. Either the market knows something. Like look at these candles. Just let me end it on. Look at these candles. Either the market knows, because again, they all open and close near the highs. Either the market knows something or they are pumping to unload as hard as they can. This doesn't look right. And this is the thing we've talked about. Like, you should have had like a day, some sort of red day in there, or like a mini pullback. Like, this action is aggressively greedy, right? Now, I know you get these pullbacks, but look at the close, right? Or the squeeze action. Let's go back in the Wayback Time Machine. Let me just, again, I'll see if I'm missing anything. When in doubt, go back in time. Trying to think of like anything even in remotely similar. 2010, 2008, 2009, sorry. January, okay, here you go. You had this pullback, then you had this sweet little rally. But the magnitude was smaller. Like, you can see like you went from 105, 120, I guess that's 15%, but you had some chop days. Not bad. See, at least you had that pullback. See, when you get like the multi-day touch-up, pain up, whatever you want to call it. I guess that's too far, 2009. Trying to remember January. Yeah, here you go. You had the 28th. Assuming that was a Fed day. And you got one more low into March. Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, again, I still think they're probably... What is your timing estimate on SOX 40? Well, that's a good question. If you look at this, the typical move is going to take what? I would say at least give yourself 2 weeks to get a decent move. At least a month, right? If you really want to catch it. That's my guess, is I would give yourself at least a month. Right? Because once it starts, here you go. Here's like a 38 up to 70. That took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 2 weeks. Minimum. 2 weeks to be safe. Now, again, if this is the bottom, which it feels very bottom-ish. But if you're playing options, I would actually give yourself at least a month. And if you buy the stock, I mean, if you buy it down at 23, 24, 25, even 26, I think you're in a good area for the risk reward. Just, this is the thing about layering or not layering, right? If you just went all in, now you're down like 10% and you're just scratching your head going, crap, right? But you look at the SMH, it's like, wow, really? Really? This feels pretty straight line move-ish, right? Like, you go from range lows, 197 up to 240. You know, you do the math on that. It's almost 25%. From this low, it's, 30 plus 5%. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate everybody. This is hard. I mean, I'm trying to be honest here. I hate sugarcoating this and telling people, like the marketing version of this, where they just like, oh, this is easy, watch this trade, and then it's like, and I don't know how many people we followed like this, but they post a trade and then they just disappear. Like, it's like, if you're right, they're great. If they're right, they're telling you how they're right all the time, how awesome they are. They're never wrong. As soon as they're wrong, it's like crickets, and then they just pop back up for the next winner. And then they're amazingly awesome. Keep the cat away from the stereo, yeah. You know what I mean? And that's like, wow, Tesla, all right, trying to squeeze one more time up. It's like, damn, I'm just watching this. He said the Q's volume coming in. Like, hold on. I don't see. Looks like markup. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is the journey. I mean, the people that have been around for long, they've seen the ups and the downs of this. And they've seen how good it can be. And they see at times how, like, it's like, try to sidestep stuff. You're trying to, like, because again, if you could predict the market flawlessly all out throughout the year, you'd be a genius. You're not going to be able to do that. And that's the reality. And so if the short is wrong and you're gone, well, I don't care if you were, and I'll just end it with this. If you were down a bunch already and you're not happy with the way the positioning is and you're not sleeping, then you need to like close it out and reposition yourself, and or wait, and or put yourself in like this mindset of, all right, why did I go all in right off the start? Because no matter what I say, you say, whatever the market is, ultimately, like, that's the hardest part. Like, if you're trying to really go all in every time, I mean, think of just like, think back to the Tesla bottom, right? You just couldn't. You couldn't, but then there was. Now, all right, well, if you're trying to all in short here right now, does that make sense? Probably not. But you never know. It could pull back. Like, again, it's up on these rumors. I mean, here comes 180. Just tap that. Watching the price action. Sorry. That's what you just have to be aware of. And so buying the lows, selling the highs. You know, people sometimes say, well, why don't I just wait? Okay. Why don't I just wait? Well, sometimes you don't know, right? Like, you start to get to these levels, and here's where we got stopped out once and it went higher. Okay, that made sense. And you waited. It was a one touch. That was hard. Then you have to do this. You have to wait for the dips or the pops to full in go. Because once it starts, and this is the thing, like, and this is, we missed this move, right? Like, that was just boom, gone. Talked about getting in here early. People were so pissed off, and then it was like, took a little while, but it was the bottom. Here, remember we bottomed here and talked about buying absolute, going ham, heavy long down here. You try to get early, or you're going to have to be on the other side of it. Well, just remember, it's easier to sustain the choppiness if you're closer to the highs or the lows. That's all you can really end it with. That's the thing, right? Because if you don't buy it down here, like we talked about, this 2-day range, doji, then gap up, I was like, this is game on. If you bought it up here and then it starts pulling back, you can't withstand this. And I still remember people were still so frustrated. And I was like, it looks like it's just retesting. Oh, the market should just go. Well, then once you gave up, then it did. And I say you, mean proverbially like the average person. Now what? Is there a gap fill? I mean, technically, open, close, open, close. Open, close is 409. I don't see a gap. No, I don't see a gap. You say gap at 409. What date? What date are you referencing? Oh, right here. I got you. Actually, it's 407. So you open down, closed here. The window is actually at 407. Oh yeah, I mean that wifey account. Remember how I was telling you, like, I thought that was like satire. I'm like, how can you just scream bearishness endlessly and just not talk about the potential for being wrong? And this is where, again, if you follow anybody, even me, I don't care. If you think they're infallible and they cannot be wrong, and they pretend like they can't be wrong, or someone you know pretends they can't, don't follow them. I'm telling you, that's trash. The best traders I know all have losses. They all have times where they're wrong. They all have been played by the market. We all have. So I'll end it on that. Good chat. Appreciate you guys. Have a great evening. I'll probably get the recap out early if I can. If not, I'll get it out tomorrow morning. Oof, wow, this closed. It is just pumping. What time is it? It is what it is. All right. Be smart. Remember, be thoughtful. If you are looking at shorting, please give yourself time. Please, 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 please. If you're going long, be quick. Be absolutely quick. But be careful. I mean, you could get lucid at any point. It could get lucid. You could be dreaming that your gains are real. All right. Talk to you later.